It is that time. Today is September 21st, 2023. This is going to be a really quick show, but we're going to talk a little Buckeyes, a little Fighting Irish. I'm not going to give you a full preview of the game, just give you some of the historical notes of these two blue blood college football programs and what is ahead this weekend. And you just heard two of the greatest fight songs in all of sport, really, with the Ohio State marching band and the Notre Dame fight song as well. So just a legendary matchup in South Bend. Last year it was in Columbus. So we'll talk about that here in just a moment. So you all know me. My name is Justin Coffin. This is the 330 Sports Show. Here's what's going to be on a really quick show because we have a special coming down after the show. So number 6, Ohio State travels to number 9, Notre Dame, Saturday at 7:30. That game's on NBC. And we're just going to have a little fun with this. Being in Youngstown, Youngstown is very Irish Catholic town here. So there's a lot of Notre Dame fans here, as well as an overwhelming majority of Ohio State and Youngstown State Penguin fans here. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to do a little Rudy breakdown, the 1993 movie that's going to follow this show. So my buddy Greg and I are Ohio State graduates, and then we brought in probably the biggest Notre Dame fan we know, Edgar Moscow. He is going to give the Notre Dame perspective from the Rudy movie breakdown. We had some fun with that. So stay tuned to that on Youngstown Studio after this show. We'll also touch a little bit on the Browns and the Titans and a bounce back game for the Cleveland Browns this weekend. And I'll give you Joe and I's NFL picks for week number 3 of the season. So let's get started. And we're going to start with, obviously, Ohio State and Notre Dame, with Youngstown State also on a bye week this week. So I have on here number 4 for Ohio State. They're actually number 4 in the coaches poll. They're number 6 in the AP poll. Notre Dame, number 9 in the Associated Press. As of last check, Ohio State was a 3.5 point favorite. This game is, should be super close, super competitive. Notre Dame has a 39-year-old quarterback under their wing in Sam Hartman. Just kidding. I think he is 24 though, in his 6th or 7th year of college football. He's the active all-time leader in passing yards in college football currently as it stands right now. Obviously, Ohio State breaking in a new quarterback to replace C.J. Stroud. That is Kyle McCord, but he has been lighting it up as of the last game. So hopefully in this true big road test, he is ready to go along with the rest of that offense and a loaded defense. So should be a phenomenal game. And I know Notre Dame's going to be ready to go. This is going to be one of their biggest games of the season. Ohio State has, you got to take one game at a time, but you got the Notre Dame game, and then you got, you're at Wisconsin, you host Penn State, and you're at Michigan to end the season, but you got to take one game at a time. So this is going to be a huge, huge test for both teams. And I think the winner of this game moves up to number 2 in the poll, if not number 1. So we shall see. But Marcus Freeman, former Buckeye, played under Coach Tressel. There's a lot of tie-ins between these two schools, and they're teams that don't play very often. And so we're expecting some entertaining football on Saturday night. Now, these are two teams that don't play a whole lot, as I mentioned, and let's take a look at some of the history from this rivalry. So the all-time series. So first of all, Columbus, Ohio. You drive from Columbus, Ohio to South Bend, Indiana. It's 270 miles. So what is that? That's probably a 3.5, 4 hour drive. Not far at all. There have only been 7 matchups all time, however, in this series. And, this Saturday being number 8. So, and a lot of them coming in fairly recent history, 4 games since the 2005 season. So, we'll see here. So Notre Dame got the first 2 back in 1935 and 1936. Notre Dame won in Columbus 18-13. And then the following year in South Bend, Notre Dame lit up the scoreboard with a 7-2 victory over the Buckeyes, 1936. We skip ahead, 59 years to the next meeting in 95. Ohio State wins that game in Columbus, 45-26. I believe that's that classic picture you see of Eddie George running through the Notre Dame secondary there. Ohio State was a 7-point favorite in that game. Ohio State, they would then meet up the following year. Ohio State got that win 29-16 in South Bend. Ohio State was a 3-point favorite in that game, just like they are this year. You skip way ahead to, about a decade to 2005. They meet up in the Fiesta Bowl. I think that was Brady Quinn and Troy Smith in that game. 34-20 Buckeyes win that game. The Buckeyes were a 4.5-point favorite in that game. Then you move to the Fiesta Bowl again, another 10 years later. Ohio State wins that game 44-28. Ohio State was a 6.5-point favorite in that game. Last year, 2002, in Columbus, Ohio State, that was a really tight game up until, about halfway through the fourth quarter. And Ohio State pulled away late there. Xavier Johnson actually with a huge touchdown from CJ Stroud to win that game 21-10. Ohio State was a 16.5-point favorite in that game. But the Irish played really well in that game. It was kind of a sloppy game, but Ohio State pulled away late. Then we come ahead now to Saturday's game, September 23rd. That is in South Bend. As I mentioned, Ohio State, as it stands now, I'm not sure how the betting trends are going to change, but Ohio State sits at about a 3.5 point favorite in this game. And the total is 54.5. Both teams have pretty solid defenses, very good weapons. Ohio State, I would say, has the better athletes. However, Notre Dame has the more experienced quarterback, and the whole Marcus Freeman, former Ohio State player, the underdog chip on their shoulder. So we'll see what both teams. Hopefully, we get the Ryan Day from Georgia and is aggressive, and we'll see what happens there. Marcus Freeman, is going to have his guys ready to play, and again, we'll see what happens there. So a lot of really interesting things, but it should be a great matchup for both of these teams. This is very interesting from an Ohio State perspective. Ohio State is going to travel. This will be their 4th game of the year, but their 2nd road game. However, they're going to play 6 games at home, 6 games on the road. The last time Ohio State played 6 games on the road was in 1895. So we're talking 130 years here, 127 years, 26, 28 years. It's a long time, but they're going to be road warriors this year. But they have been very battle tested on the road. So look at this stat. In the past decade, Ohio State has the best winning percentage in all of college football, going 41-4, which is 92% over the last decade on the road. So pretty impressive numbers there. The next best is Alabama at 36-7. So Ohio State has 3 fewer losses than the next best school in the past decade. So pretty impressive numbers there. Take a look at the weekend slate in the Big Ten. So obviously you got the big one, Ohio State traveling to Notre Dame. Rutgers will travel to number 2 Michigan. That should be, Rutgers has given Michigan fits in the past. That's a 24-point line. I like Rutgers to cover that spread in that game. I think Rutgers could be just pesky enough to make Michigan maybe a little bit nervous. I think Michigan wins the game, but Rutgers covers the spread. On Friday night, you got Wisconsin traveling to Purdue. And then another ranked versus ranked Big Ten game this weekend. You got the Iowa Hawkeyes traveling, number 24 Hawkeyes traveling to Penn State, the number 7 team in the country. Nebraska will host Louisiana Tech. Maryland will travel to Michigan State. Illinois will host Florida Atlantic. Minnesota will travel to Northwestern. And Indiana will host the Akron Zips. So that's a look at the Big Ten weekend slate. Let's go on to the best games in college football this weekend. The best games in college football this weekend. So first of all, we look at the top 5 here. Georgia, Michigan, Texas, Florida State, USC, and then you got a slew of, you could honestly say they're all Big Ten teams, 6 to 10, with Ohio State, Penn State, Washington next year will be in the Big Ten at number 8. Notre Dame, they're in that Midwest footprint and a lot of Big Ten culture there. So they're number 9, and Oregon at number 10. So that's a look. And something you might notice right in the middle there of the graphic, Alabama sits at the number 13 spot. They dropped heavily in the poll after struggling the last few weeks. But the best games of the weekend. So look at this at noon. First of all, noon to start. Florida State at Clemson. The number 4 Seminoles travel to Dabo territory to take on Clemson. Another noon game. Auburn at Texas A&M should be a good one. And then you got a 3:30 CBS game. This should be a really, really good one. Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss travel to number 13, Alabama. That should be a great game. On Fox, you got UCLA, number 22, traveling to Utah. That's a tough place to play, but in the daytime, not quite as intimidating as the night there, but UCLA taking on the Utah Utes, 22 versus 11 there. At 3:30 as well, ABC kick. You got the number 19, probably most surprising team in the country, Colorado Buffaloes, traveling to Eugene, Oregon. I think it's time. I love what Deion Sanders has done there, Coach Prime, but they are without Travis Hunter, and they're going to face their first real test of the year. I like Oregon to win big in that game. I think it's like a 20-point spread, but I think Oregon could cover that spread. At 7 o'clock, you got Oregon State traveling to Washington State, a ranked versus ranked matchup here. You got the number 14 Beavers traveling to the number 21 Cougars. Should be a great matchup there. That's a 7 o'clock Fox kick. 7:30 CBS. You got the Iowa Hawkeyes traveling to Penn State. Tough game there, probably whiteout conditions. 7 o'clock ESPN. This is the Kirk Herbstreit Fowler game. You got Arkansas traveling to LSU, the number 12 team in the country, and also a 3:30 game, kind of off the radar, but should be a kind of an intriguing game. You got BYU traveling to Kansas. But the big one, obviously, of the weekend, Ohio State at Notre Dame, 7:30 NBC. That is Ian Eagle's son. I forget his first name, but he does a nice job for NBC. He's kind of a young prodigy announcer, so should be a great contest. Looking forward to another great weekend of college football here. One more college football note, kind of just a fun thing we like to do here. I think this is our 8th or 9th film breakdown, but we are going to break down the movie Rudy after this show, so should be a good time. Edgar, the true Notre Dame fan, gives it a 92% on the grading scale. Greg gave it an 85. I give it an 87 for a final grade of 88%, a really solid B on our rating system. So we put that in the great movie category. And we all really love this, the true underdog story of Rudy. But we go through a ton of good stuff, nitpicks, acting performances, different scenes, favorite quotes, a bunch of stuff like that. So hopefully, it'll get you ready for college football, and hopefully you enjoy that movie breakdown. Share that out with anyone you think will enjoy that. All right, let's move on to the NFL slate for week number 3 in the NFL. College football week 4, NFL week 3. Last week, I went 8-8 in my picks. Not too great straight up. I am 17-15 for the season. Joe killed it last week, 12-4 last week to move him to 23-9 on the season. Again, these are straight up picks. So tonight's game, the Giants at the 49ers. We both got the 49ers. We are both taking the Browns to bounce back this weekend. Big game. Mike Vrabel, one of the best coaches in football, from right here in the 3-3-0, brings his team into Cleveland. We both are taking the Browns, though, to win that game as the more talented team. And by the way, welcome back, Kareem Hunt, hopefully avenging Batman in Nick Chubb. And Kareem Hunt will be that Robin to avenge Nick Chubb. And, our thoughts and prayers are still with Nick Chubb. But this Cleveland Browns team is built to win right now. So hopefully they go and get bounced back and get to 2-1 on the season. Atlanta at Detroit. We split on this game. I'm going with the home Lions. Joe is going with the Atlanta Falcons. We are both taking the Saints to win at Green Bay. We're both taking the Miami Dolphins at home to knock off the Denver Broncos. We split. I have the LA Chargers in an 0-2 matchup versus the Minnesota Vikings. Joe is taking the Vikings. New England at the Jets. I am actually taking the New England Patriots. I don't really have a good reason why, except for maybe, it's not Aaron Rodgers at quarterback for the Jets, but Joe is going to take the New York Jets at home. Buffalo, we are both on as they travel to Washington. We're both on the Jacksonville Jaguars over to host CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans. We're both on the Ravens this week, taking on the Indianapolis Colts, former franchise of the Baltimore Ravens. And we're both going to take the Seattle Seahawks this week to knock off Carolina at home. We're both on the Kansas City Chiefs. Joe going with a huge upset, taking the Arizona Cardinals over the Dallas Cowboys. I think Dallas is going to win this game by at least 2 touchdowns. Pittsburgh is traveling to Las Vegas. I am taking the Steelers. Joe is taking the Raiders. The Raiders are actually 2.5-point favorites in this game. I'm a little bit surprised by that line, but I think that should be a good matchup. That is the Sunday night game of the week. And Monday, another Monday doubleheader. You got Philadelphia at Tampa Bay. We're both giving Baker Mayfield his first loss and both taking the Eagles. And then a Super Bowl matchup from 2 years ago, the LA Rams traveling to the Cincinnati Bengals. I am taking the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe is taking the LA Rams in that matchup. So again, look at the AFC North real quick. Browns 1-1, taking on the Titans again. Cincinnati hosting the LA Rams. They are 0-2. They need a win badly. Baltimore 2-0, hosting the Colts, looking to go 3-0 on the season. The Pittsburgh Steelers 1-1, traveling to the Raiders this weekend. And then real quick look at what's coming up for the Browns. So Browns have back-to-back home games here. Actually 3 in a row if you throw in the bye week. So they will not go on the road until October 22nd. So it's a nice situation for the Browns. But you got to get a split at minimum with the Titans and the Ravens if you want to make the playoffs this year. But you got to take it 1 week at a time. Hopefully bounce back week 3 versus the Titans. The Browns are the better team. And then week 4, Baltimore is going to be probably 3-0 coming into that matchup. So that's a huge, huge test for the Browns and the Ravens. And then you got your bye week, week 5. So we will see what happens there. But again, take care of business against the Titans this week. And here's a look at the matchup. We're not going to get into the full matchups. I'm still so bummed out by the Nick Chubb injury. But Kareem Hunt, Jerome Ford, this defense, but we all know the Browns are only going to go as far as Deshaun Watson takes them. So Deshaun Watson is the key to victory here, getting the ball to those talented wide receivers. Jerome Ford, Kareem Hunt, Pierre Strong hopefully can carry the load. The Browns defense, if it keeps doing what it's doing, is going to do its part. Hopefully shuts down Derrick Henry and that strong running game for the Titans. But the Browns are the better team here. I don't care what the score is, just get the victory. But the Browns 3.5-point favorites and a 39.5-point over under on this game. So Sunday, September 24th, 1 p.m. at Cleveland Browns Stadium. If you're there, get out, be loud, support the Browns, and that's where we'll leave it. So just one more reminder here. Our Rudy episode is coming up soon, so make sure to tune into that and share that out with anyone you think would be interested. We gave it a really high B, great sports movie, a little cheesy, but a great sports movie, and one of the best football movies. I put it as my number 3 football movie of all time, but I know Edgar and Greg have it ranked a little bit higher above me. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Hopefully you enjoy the Rudy breakdown, and we will see you next week. From me, go Buckeyes, go Browns. Penguins are off this weekend, but everybody enjoy your football weekend, and we will talk to you soon. Appreciate you watching the 330 Sports Show. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, all that stuff, as well as Youngstown Studio, and we will talk to you guys